You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. 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 If we care enough.
Check it out, you got me mesmerized with your black hair and your fat thighs. Street poetry is my everyday, but yo, I gotta stop when you drop my weight. If I was working at the club, you would not pay. Hey yo, my man Fife Diggy, he got something to say.
Yo, I like him brown, yellow, Puerto Rican, or Haitian. Name is Fife Dog from the Zulu Nation. Told you in the jam that we could get down. Now let's knock the boots like the group H-Town. You got BBD all on your bedroom wall, but I'm above the rim and this is how I ball. A gritty little something on the New York street. This is how I represent over this here beat. Talking about you.
Yo, I took you out, but sex was on my mind for the whole route.
Welcome in. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Little Tribe Called Quest bringing us in electric relaxation. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're on. It's Wednesday, middle of the week, hump day. So I hope that you are relaxed, chilled out, and ready to get into these trending topics and headlines. Of course, this is the show where we hit them all: entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture with me, Jill Munroe. And as always, we have so much to get into. First of all, if you're not already, make sure that you are following us on all social media. KBLA 1580. Hit me up everywhere at Stiletto Jill. Say hi. Also, download the app. Check in there. If you want the visual experience to go along with this audio adventure, check in over on YouTube. The chat is always bustling over there. Lots of input, lots of conversations on the topics. And if at some point, by chance, you want to join in to the conversation, hit us up, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Now, let me give you a rundown of the topics that we're going to get into this evening. So first up, Marlon Wayans. He's been listening to the critiques, the criticisms, the conversation surrounding black actors, black comedians, and if they have to put on a dress and step into the Illuminati in order to succeed in Hollywood. Well, he has some pushback on the idea that success for black men in Hollywood is tied to a dress. And he also says that it is this commentary that only would come from our own. So we're going to get into his comments on that. We're also going to talk about, Usher. He's getting ready for the Super Bowl, just coming off of his very, very successful Vegas residency, gearing up for a new album, new tour. 2024, Usher's year. So naturally, as a fashion-forward guy, Vogue decided to place him on the cover. But some people are outraged because it wasn't a solo cover. And they want to know why. So we'll get into that. Was Vogue wrong for not giving Usher a solo cover? as its cover guy. You know, there's an article in there about him. He's the cover story. We'll get into that. Also, 70s supermodel Beverly Johnson, one of the classics, one of the first black models to grace a magazine cover. She has recently revealed her 70s diet for weight loss. And she says it was so unhealthy and so wrong. But, you know, she talks about what the moment was that made her realize that this wasn't the way to go as far as keeping her weight in check. You know, it was a different era then. There was no Ozempic to solve the problems quickly. Plastic surgery wasn't popping like that yet. So we'll get into what Beverly was doing back then. And, of course, it's Wednesday, so we do have a guest. Our Keep It Real friend Trent Jackson is going to be joining us to give his untethered response to some of these topics, all of these topics, really, you know. Trent is here. But before we get into all of that, of course, we have a couple of conversation starters. These are topics, subjects, things that I want to make you aware of, but we don't have time tonight to get into the full story. Or maybe there is no full story. Maybe it's just I want you to be aware. First up, Nicki Minaj. She teased that it was going to be Pink Friday at the Rolling Loud Festival. It's the 10-year anniversary of the event. It's taking place March 15th through 17th in Inglewood at Hollywood Park's grounds. So essentially, Nicki Minaj has announced, and they have as well, Friday is Pink Friday with Nicki. So she is the headliner. Also performing that night, YG and Tyga, Sexy Red, Ray Shrimmer. Will Sexy Red have delivered by then? Like, how's that gonna work? I feel like, I don't know. That's cutting it a little close. Who else is performing that night? It's a lot of acts. Small print. Post Malone is heading up Saturday night. Big Sean is also performing that night. Larry June, Summer Walker, Flo Milli, a bunch of other acts. And on Sunday, Future and Metro Booming, Don Toliver, Bryson Tiller, Chief Keef, NLE Chopper. Might be a little young for y'all, but you know, your kids will be excited about this and they will definitely want to be there. So Rolling Loud, you know, get your tickets because it's sure to be something. Listen, in other news, you know, we've talked about for the past few months how it's memoir season. Everyone is releasing a book and revealing the, you know, intricacies and dynamics behind their personal relationships and their, you know, growth to the top. Next up on the list, Shawnee Henderson. Oh, you're not familiar with who Shawnee Henderson is? Her former name was Shawnee O'Neal. She will be dropping a new book in May of 2024. It's called Undefeated. And it's about the difference that time can make. And it's a journey with her through fear, insecurity, self-doubt, and the arrival at, of course, the destination, courage. We'll get into more trending topics and headlines on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-DO.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chuchas Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, we always talk about we are in theme as far as the topics for the night and, you know, the musical selections. And at first, I kind of missed it. I didn't make the connection. And then Andy was like, hey, think about this for a second. So, Tribe Called Quest, Electric Relaxation. We're talking about Marlon Wayans later, and he was on what show? What? The Wayans Brothers. And after we had the opening, we're brothers, we're happy, and we're, 'cause we're colored. Da-na-na-na-na. Give me a high five. What does it kick into? Electric relaxation, which is such a very 90s thing, you know, combining something that seems like a little cheeky, a little quirky, and then it goes into 90s style hip hop, which is very, you know, drum and bass heavy with the cuts and things like that. It really fit for the era. Anyway, you know, we like to go down our musical eras. So before, when we were on the other side, I mentioned to you that Shawnee O'Neal is releasing a memoir called Undefeated. She's been working on it for 5 years. She said that some of you know her as being the mother to her beautiful children, the executive producer of a hit reality TV series, the wife and last lady to her handsome husband, meaning she may be the first lady of the church, but she is the last lady of the relationships. Like, this is the forever one. Shout out to her. But she said, check the credits again. She is now an author, and she is going to show you all sides of her. And you're going to be able to go on the journey and learn about how she arrived to where she is today. So I can be honest and tell you, I'm very interested. I can't wait to see what she has to say and how open she is. She did say in the video trailer that she released from it, you know, referenced that some moments she will still go Inglewood on people if need be. And, you know, LA girls are LA girls. We are who we are. So shout out to Shawnee Henderson. I'll be looking forward to checking it out. So listen, guess who made an appearance at New York Fashion Week this week? Somebody that you guys have been talking about since, the Thanksgiving holiday. And she stepped out looking snatched, looking like fresh, clean money. And it's not because she recently got some. Cassie was spotted out at New York Fashion Week doing her thing. She had a, bob cut, side part, slicked look, menswear, dark eyes, and she was giving. So shout out to Cassie for stepping back out into the spotlight and, taking up space. Congrats to her. I hear she might be working on some things for us in the future. We'll have to see if anything comes out of that, if anything develops. So listen. Do you guys know who the influencer Bernice Burgos is? For a while, she was dating Drake at one point in time, many years ago. She most recently, I believe, was dating Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. They were together for a minute. Bernice is beautiful, over 40. And she has a daughter who I believe she was fairly young when she had her as well. And so they've kind of grown up together. She has another younger daughter now. I believe her youngest daughter is maybe 16 or 17 at this point. But her older daughter, I believe her name is Ashley. She should be in her 20s. Well, recently in an interview, she said that, it's strange to her that men will shoot their shot and DM both of them and see what can go down. She says for her, she prefers an older man, but she says her mother likes much younger men, and it kind of creeps her out that these men will try to pursue her even though they know they've also been in her mom's DMs. So, Trent, welcome in. I want to know. Trent Jackson, Trent the artist, it's Wednesday. Our Keep It Real friend joins us. So, I got a Keep It Real question for the Keep It Real friend. Would you have a problem with, I don't know, maybe an aunt or uncle, because you don't have any children, but if someone...
How do you know what I got stashed off in the secret?
Listen, I'm going to assume that you would be a better person not to have no secret kids stashed off somewhere.
Well, surprise, surprise, I do.
What, you got a cat, Jermaine?
Well, we know about my cats. Why is he stopped?
I'm joking.
Is my attorney watching?
Okay, well, listen. We don't want to incriminate anyone here. So I'm just in general, do you think that when your child is of age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you have a problem with someone their age or someone they knew trying to take you out? Or conversely, someone that was your age trying to date your child? Because, you get to a point where you're at that age where it's kind of like, one clear point, it's clearly inappropriate on both sides. But then it gets to that point where it's a little bit of gray area. And depending upon how you feel in individuals, a lot of different things could happen. So how would you approach that situation? Oh, shout out to Shannon Thompson. She's reminded me that Bernice Burgos also used to date T.I. for a minute. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was a little thing. Quickly.
Yeah. What were we talking about again? I was so sidetracked by Shannon Thompson. She's so polarizing.
If you had, child, sibling, niece, whatever, right? And you guys were, far enough apart in age, like let's say 15 years apart.
So my 21-year-old sister.
Correct. Yeah,
okay.
Your 21-year-old sister.
Let's use her.
Let's use your 21-year-old sister.
I have a 21-year-old sister. Yeah.
Okay. So if a guy your age was like, well, yeah, I hollered at you.
So one of my homeboys. So my best friend.
Well, here's the thing. They maybe hollered at you first, but your sister.
Wait, what? Swinging?
Again, I'm just giving out the...
Yeah.
This is a more complicated scenario.
Yeah. So
than
number
what
one,
the point
my
is.
sister would be creeped out by that, and she wouldn't go for it. Especially if it was somebody that I knew or one of my friends or something like that. Like, my sister would be totally creeped out by that.
But what if one of her friends wanted to date you?
They tried once before. One of her little friends from high school grew up. And because, there's a difference. So when he was 21, I saw him out at the bars and he was trying to talk to me. I was like, little boy, please, go home. I just saw you at my sister's 16, sweet 16. Stop playing with me.
Stop playing with that. So, but would you? Is it just because he is affiliated with your sister?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I completely understand that because it could be weird. It could be awkward.
It's very awkward, and it's like ill, disgusting.
And who wants to sit there and listen to anyone have a conversation about their, older sister, significant other, their parent especially?
However, I am at that age where I can pivot to.
It could be a daddy, a granddaddy, or a son.
Yes.
Anybody in the lineage can get it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
I get you. Depends on the mood,
Well,
what's gonna go
not
down.
really, but come on.
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm harassing you. I'm poking back.
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
You're poking back because I'm poking the bear.
Yeah.
Listen, all things are, available.
Yeah.
I think that especially now, as it's funny because I feel like Gen Z and younger millennials are really sort of rigid as far as their dating.
Oh my God,
standards.
they are.
They're like,
and they're not even dating.
You're 2 years older than me. We can't.
I was walking around in my studio earlier, and it's this other guy that he's down the hall, and he was like, "Oh, I'm freaking out because I'm getting ready to turn 30," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "How old are you?" He's like, "Oh, I'm 28." I was like, "Get out of here." I was like, "You are ridiculous." I was like, "Do you know how crazy you sound? Like, life, it doesn't even get, come on, 30, that's when it gets good and fun. Oh, 40, please. It's turn up. A different kind of fun."
It's a different level.
Yeah.
And you ready for that transit, or you were.
Totally. 28, I was freaking out about being older, but it was a different thing back then.
And then you got there and you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's not so bad after all, and it's not even that old.
This works for me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, surprise, surprise. Nene Leakes has a new job. Are you ready to get into it?
What is it?
Nene Leakes will be hosting the Baddies reunion on Zeus, Baddies East. So Nene
Who's the Baddies?
It's the show that Natalie Nunn has created for the Zeus Network, and they had Baddies West,
so
Baddies South,
Bad Girls
Baddies East,
rebranded.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
It is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
But it seems to be successful. It seems to be.
Yeah, it caters to that particular audience.
It does cater to a particular audience. Mm-hmm. So, shout out to Nene.
But that'll be. I like to see her in certain capacity. She's funny.
I mean, because the girls are definitely in need of wrangling. On that show.
For sure.
And Nene is an OG with a quick.
I think
comeback.
Society in general needs a wrangling.
I mean, yeah.
Everything needs to be
a reset.
Yes, totally, because it's gotten
hard
too far.
Reset.
It's gotten way too far and out of control for no
crazy.
reason. It is, and people are just for no reason. It's like, please have a reason to be,
Do they need one?
Yeah, a factual one, sure, because all this is fake outrage, chaos, and fake drama. We've had enough.
It's the end. Okay, so listen, this is a topic that Urban Spinster DM'd me.
Urban Spinster, she's such a nice lady.
Shout out to her.
I like her.
So
is this what kind of story? Because I could be walking into something and
No. Trust us.
Okay,
it's cool. We're good.
I don't trust nobody who say trust me. Because the next thing you know, we getting fingerprinted down to the place.
We're at the police station.
Yeah.
No face, no case. Okay,
good.
So. She I don't know if you've seen it, but recently Roland Martin made some comments about Tubi. We talk about Tubi a lot here in the different films or whatever. And as I mentioned a few weeks back, their subscriber base has grown to over 75 million subscribers a month, or viewers, I should say.
Okay.
Right? Because they do have a free option where you don't have to sign up or anything. You can watch it. And then there is you sign up, but they have 75 active users, 75 million, every month.
Wait, they have a paid feature?
Well, they have you can watch it, you can sign in and get an account.
Oh, and so you can
I don't know if there's a paid version. I think it's all ad free, but there might be a
the
paid
sign
version.
in is so you can press pause and come back later.
Yeah, get your favorites and create a playlist and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So and we know that there's a great deal of Black content that is on Tubi.
Yep.
And that is a lot of the reason, as of late, it seems like, over the past maybe 2 years or so, why Tubi has been able to make that climb.
I'm sure.
Tubi was started, as we mentioned, by 2 ad execs that were in the Bay Area, left their company, and I'm sorry, there's like hair in my mouth.
Oh, wow.
Be quiet, Trent. Listen, you're a mess.
No.
So your whole expression. So essentially, it has evolved. They set up. They had an ad network set up, right? So they set it up so that they already had revenue coming in, and they used it to purchase licensed shows. So the same type of series that you would see on Netflix, not the original programming. I'm talking about the licensed shows like Girlfriends, The Parkers, etc.
Right.
Are available on Tubi. So that is how they got their start and they got their climb. But some are saying, because they're just now understanding that Fox invested in them and then invested some more and have a controlling interest. So you can see shows that were canceled on Fox, like Our Kind of People. You can go check it out on Tubi. So some people are wondering, and Roland Martin especially, if this is not the same, 1-2 step that we saw in the late 80s with Fox originally, and how Fox used black programming to build up the network, then abandoned it, then used the proceeds from that to start Fox Network, and then went on to purchase the NFL rights, et cetera, et cetera. So, Andy, you look like you had something that you wanted to add to this conversation.
No, I was just going to say, is there rides, does any of it have to do with, because I noticed some of their movies on Peacock. I know we talked about it last time. And, just watching some of their programming on Peacock, it made me more interested in actually, wanting to tap into Tubi.
And some of Tubi's programming?
Yeah, so that's what I was just thinking. Could it possibly be that, the fact that they have some of their programming on Peacock, Netflix, could that have helped with their rise?
Well, the reason why some of that it's the licensing deal. So some of the licensing is exclusive, some of it is not. So I could, if I had an indie feature, in theory, submit it to Tubi. I could also submit it to Hulu, perhaps, and maybe Prime. And if they all accept it, or if we, run that, someone has connections in that, then you could see it on all of 3, maybe at the same time, maybe at different times, depending upon the deal that you negotiated. When we come forward, we're going to get Trent, the artist, thoughts on Tubi a little bit, and where we are. And I'll get more into what Roland Martin's point was, because we've seen this same play happen with Fox, with UPN, and with the CW, where they build up a lot of black programming, and then as soon as they get the numbers in, the diversity, the shows that we love seem to go away. We've lost, Moesha, Girlfriends, The Steve Harvey Show, South Central, a bunch of other shows, Living Single, to situations like that. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports is up next.
I don't get down like that.
I'll have you weak in the knees that you can hardly speak, or we could do like Uncle Ella swinging up in my Jeep. Keep it on the down, yo, we keep it discreet. See, I'm not the type of kid to have my biz in the streets.
If my mom don't approve, then I'll just be low. Let me save the little man from inside.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Former Baltimore Mayor Sheila Dixon's campaign says she raised over $520,000 last year in her effort to unseat Mayor Brandon Scott. The Democrat, who is black, has $370,000 on hand. Scott, who is also black, raised $682,000 and has over $835,000 on hand. Meanwhile, fellow Democratic candidate Bob Wallace has $230,000 on hand after raising $250,000 last year. Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown has joined 21 other state attorney generals in urging the Biden administration to enact a ban on menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars. The attorney generals argue the review and implementation of the proposed FDA rules, which they say are supported by ample evidence, are long overdue. They say these cigarettes are especially appealing to minority communities and young people. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Can't wait weeks for your tax refund? Then don't. At Jackson Hewitt, get money today if you're approved for a no-fee refund advance loan on a prepaid card. Book today at jacksonhewitt.com. No-fee refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyaudio.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyaudio.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus, plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Granddad, what's good? Hey there, got us a quarter pounder with cheese and McNuggets. Wow, haven't had our special McDonald's order in a minute. Heard your little tic-tac-toe dance didn't get no likes. Oh, man, is Mom telling everybody? You know she is.
There's a deal for every favorite grandson at McDonald's. Right now, get one favorite like a Quarter Pounder with cheese or 10-piece chicken McNuggets and get another for just $1. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I love it though. I love it though. You know? I love it too. Put your hands to the constellations. The way you look should be a sin. You my sensation. I know I'm preaching to the congregation. We love Jesus, but you done learned a lot from Satan. Amen. I mean, Anita did a lot of waiting. We ain't married, but tonight I need some consummation. May the Lord forgive us. May the gods be with us. In that magic hour, I seen good Christians make brash decisions. Oh, she do it. What happened to religion? Oh, she lose it. She putting on her makeup. She casually allured. Text message breakups, the casualty of tour. How she gon' wake up and not love me no more? I thought I was that. I guess it's rubbing off. Hood phenomenon, the LeBron of rhyme. Hard to be humble when you stunting on a jumbotron. I'm looking at her like this what you really wanted, huh? Why we argue anyway? Oh, I forgot it's summertime.
Welcome back in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, lyric check really quick. I remember when the song first came out, Devil in a Blue Dress, Kanye West. Wasn't Rick Ross on the remix? Devil in a New Dress. The film was Devil in a Blue Dress. Okay. Great film, by the way. Don Cheadle, Denzel, Jennifer Beals. Excellent. At any rate, when he says the LeBron of rhyme, I always thought he said the LeBron of Bron. And I used to walk around talking about the LeBron of Bron. What is a LeBron of Bron? When you're wrong, but you're right, and you just roll with it, listen, pure comedy. Everybody needs that kind of confidence occasionally, right? So we were talking about Roland Martin and his comments that Tubi, he doesn't want black people to fall for the banana in the tailpipe, right? He does not want us to be set up where we are supporting and putting all of this views and effort into what is happening at Tubi only to be used and dropped once again. So we know this is exactly the blueprint that happened with Fox. It is. It is also what happened with UPN and CW. And I think this was not a targeted thing that happened with Tubi. I think it was an accidental byproduct. I don't think that they were planning on that. I think it just happened. And they were like, well, let's ride the wave. One thing I will say is, and I said this before several times, they had a commercial spot in the Super Bowl. That time they were about 50 million users per month, somewhere between like 35 and 50. You have to be making serious plans to spend money on a Super Bowl ad spot. So I always felt that they believed in sort of reading their perspective and, what they wanted to do for their trajectory. I think they always believed that they were going to go mainstream. This just may have accelerated the process. So what are your thoughts, Trent? Do you think that we should be wary of Tubi and not be supporting it as full out as we seem to be?
No. Why should we? They do it any other time for anything else that we buy into. So why boycott this and why make a fuss about it now? We know that this is the game plan, and we know that this is what they do, and we still buy into it every time anyway. So who's zooming who?
Well, here's the thing. I think that a lot of people, they're just discovering that Fox has invested in this property, right? But
let me just stop you right there.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
But isn't there always some nefarious figure in the background that is invested in something that we don't know about? And as soon as we find out about it, it's all this fake outrage and we're up in arms. Everything has some type of nefarious component to it. Everything.
Facts.
Even down to driving through McDonald's in the drive-thru. Everything has one. So
you definitely don't know what the person that is flipping your burgers is doing when they leave there.
At what point are we shifting and not having all this fake outrage when we buy into it? I said it on your show a few weeks ago. The biggest scam is consumerism. Here it is, right here. So we know that, and we buy into it every time. So what is the complaint? Because we're just as guilty as the person who's back in the shadows pulling the strings.
I agree with that. Horns for you. I agree with that wholeheartedly because I think that what a lot of people overlook is what Tubi is doing is they are giving, at least to a degree, the content that people want to see.
And here's the other part. Who else or what other platform is giving black people equal share and equal airtime for whatever they're doing? Point it out. And guess what? My show is getting ready to slide into Tubi. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
and that's after other Amazon and all these other, these same streaming platforms have either exited out or for whatever reason. So if we have an open platform, we might as well take advantage because it leads to something else. Like we can't just complain about everything when there's tons of benefits. We're benefiting from it more than we are not.
Correct.
Especially with all the clips that's going on Instagram. We see a meme about these horrible Tubi movies all the time, and what are we doing? We're running right to it to watch it.
Views. And here's the thing, you still can vote with your views even if they start, you can take away your dollars, you can move around. My question to those people as well, and even though, quality level probably is consistent, are you supporting the all black network? I don't know all the content that's on there. I'm just saying it's black owned. Like, here's the thing. We know that sometimes you have to start off a little rough when you're a minority owned business, a black sometimes,
yes.
You might have to rob Peter to pay Paul. You might be stringing parts together to get up and running, right? Because we aren't going to necessarily start off with as much capital, with as much support as others. But how far do we see each other through that process and be supportive so that we can do the thing that we say we want to do, and that is support, black business owners.
Yeah, and we want to, but and to your point, oftentimes we don't, or we complain about we don't have any avenues, but when we do have it, we don't support it. So now we have a platform that's essentially free, okay? And people, and now we complain about it because it's not black owned. So which way do you want it?
It's a question back and forth. Thomas Outlaw in the chat says it's a vicious cycle. Can we buy into the ad dollars that fund these platforms? I want to support good quality black TV, but this keeps happening. I say you have to support the shows that give you what you're looking for. And sometimes, unfortunately, those shows may still be canceled. That is just the way it is. But show up, tweet about, Instagram or whatever the shows that you are watching, hashtag it.
And one positive I do like about Tubi is that people do support it, which is why it keeps growing. And in that, and I think we talked about this, earlier offline before we came in, is that in these, platforms, it allows you to build your Instagram, subscriptions. It allows you to build your YouTube subscription. So just in case, Tubi folds or the plug gets pulled, people still know where to find you and where to support you. I think an excellent model of independent, I guess you would say a TV station is Kev on Stage, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't have a major, networking backing, but he has a subscription model that actually works and it has tons of content and people support it. I feel you. More people move to that model. So it could be done independent of all these streaming services. You just, I guess, have to drive people to support it.
Tap in.
Yeah.
Urban Spencer says, who is watching Grio and Maverick? So, listen, there's much more content available to us than there was back in the day. There are so many ways that we can check in as far as, from Black creatives and all different types of genres.
Yes.
We just have to make sure to show up for the things we say we want to see. Can't just be lip service. When we come forward, we got to get into Marlon Wayans' comments, see if you guys agree or disagree, plus more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007, they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, Marlon Wayans, right? We know that he is part of the Wayans family, who I think is criminally underrated as a family in Hollywood. People acknowledge them, that they're a family and the connectivity. But when you really, really think about the fact that since the 80s and all of the things that they have been involved in, from, Kenan writing on, was it Raw or yeah, it was Raw. In Living Color, Hoe Cakes and the Winky Dinky Man in Hollywood. No, that's Robert Townsend, but Kenan was involved in that, I believe, because they were partners and things, right? I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
That's correct.
That's what I was trying to think of. But Kenan and Robert were involved early because Robert had the partners in crime thing, and Kenan or Damon would be on there sometimes.
He definitely wrote for Hollywood Shuffle.
He did, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And he was in it as Jerry Curl.
Jerry Curl.
Pop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you. That is right. So, you know, on and on and on up until things like, White Chicks, the 50 Shades of Grey parody that's done, lots of things. So suffice it to say, Sean and Marlon Wayans have what? Put on a dress, right? On In Living Color, Jamie Foxx was Wanda and did what? Put on a dress.
Yeah.
One of Jim Carrey's most popular characters on there was what? Helga. Remember the bodybuilder?
No,
and
her name was Vera DeMilo.
Oh, Vera DeMilo.
Yeah.
Who's Helga? I don't know. But you're right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I thought it was Helga.
No, it's Vera
Helga
DeMilo.
Pataki. I'm thinking of the cartoon. What is the cartoon? Hey, Arnold. Anyway, listen. It's a 90s thing.
I was about to say,
it comes together.
Yeah.
90s Nickelodeon.
Yes.
At any rate, they all, at one point in time, jumped into character and made classic performances that we all laughed at, we all enjoyed, right? But there's always been, I feel, the dichotomy of whereas as far as black men and masculinity have had a problem or felt that they were being emasculated in those roles or in those situations where a dress was involved. So Marlon has a different take on why he thinks that we shouldn't critique these actors and so forth.
What about the black man putting on a dress conversation?
You talking to a black man that put on a dress?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. That conversation to me it's silly, because it's a negative thing that is only in black people. We have, for some reason, been programmed to look down on the craziest parts about our experience, that we're supposed to not embrace our past, not embrace our history, not embrace our heroes, not embrace our different levels of comedy, that we have to be this way. When Robin Williams puts on a dress and is Mrs. Doubtfire, he gets nominated for an Oscar, and white people think it's brilliant. His community embraces him. When Dustin Hoffman puts on a dress in Tootsie and he wins an Oscar, he's labeled brilliant. When black people put on dresses, all of a sudden we're labeled by our own people like something negative. And I'm like, we did White Chicks. That's a classic movie. Mm-hmm. It's a classic. I don't care what nobody says. It's a classic.
Everyone says it's a classic.
That whole thing about, you put on a dress and you selling out, that is not an artist's mindset. When you're an artist, you go out and you create art.
So, I think that he has some valid points. I think that I'm gonna go old school comedian, white. Milton Berle. He wore a dress occasionally. It's part of the thing, right? If you think of some of the old SNL skits, it happened. And he's right. Like, I think that as far as the Caucasian community, at times they do allow the space in some ways. We're not going to say that they are open about everything, because I'm sure people have their problems, but sometimes they do allow the space for people to get a little weird when it comes to the arts. You know what I mean? Or a little more open. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that Hollywood just wants to emasculate black men by making them put on a dress?
You said something. The operative word was allow. Black men, first of all, we do it to ourselves, because we hold ourselves to a stereotypical standard where black masculinity is concerned. You have to be a certain way. You can't express emotion. You have to be strong, express a certain level of dominance, and it's just not allowed to go outside of this stereotypical mode of what is expected of black men or how we should behave. That's just that. So there is no wiggle room for that, because we hold ourselves to a certain standard. However, I think that he's speaking from a point where he is secure with who he is and tunes out the noise, because he knows what his intention is when he's going into it. And it takes a person to be able to tune out the noise to do that, because when you're black in the spotlight, there's a whole lot of noise that comes along with it. So he's in a different mindset.
So one thing that I will say about Marlon Wayans is he's a Leo, right? I like the maturation of Marlon. Do you know how he's grown as far as his craft and things of that nature? I appreciate it. I appreciate his perspective and that he's dived into it. But I also understand why some feel like, no, they're trying to take us down as men and trying to, put black women in a certain thing too when they allow the black men to do this. It's so complicated because there's so many layers of other things that come along with our representation. It is because there were so few avenues, I feel, to be seen in all of the different aspects. So I think that the feelings attached to it also are, listen, we're only going to be seen on TV a couple of times a year, like at these earlier points and things like that, or in these films. Remember when we would get like one black film a year? Do we have to be in a dress? But then I think about the early 70s and how Flip Wilson, as a black man, had his own TV show that he was producing. And one of the most popular characters was Geraldine.
Yeah.
But he was a producer of that show at a time.
And I was going to make that point. I was going to say that is probably the difference between the point. Sean
and
Marlon both, they write those characters, and it's a choice. No one is putting them in a dress or telling, a studio exec is not in the background saying, hey, do this. It's their choice, and they sign up for it, and they write it that way. So that's the distinct difference, I think. And when you're coming from that perspective, when you're signing up and doing it yourself.
Because same thing with Martin, yeah. Shanae, everybody loves Shanae. People were not going in on Martin for the most part for playing that character. People just thought it was mad funny. Right? So I don't know. Shout out to Marlon Wayans. There's been a conversation in the chat. Somehow we got on 21 Jump Street. I think I might have mentioned it or brought it up. Lorenz Tate was in an episode in '89, and it was called Woolly Bullies. So for whoever wanted to know that, Jada Pinkett, like I told you, that one aired in '91. And her character's name was Nicole. And I really liked Nicole. That one I knew off top.
You wanted to be Nicole's friend?
I don't know about that. I just thought that I thought it was a nice storyline for 20. It was something I guess here's the thing. I felt like you didn't get to see a lot of Holly Robinson Peete on there. Even though she was a part of the cast, it was always regulated to like small little things or in the office. Hey, I looked up that file, or whatever. So whenever a TV show came about that had young black actors or actresses or a storyline that surrounded us, automatically, that's my favorite episode. Who's in it? I look for those faces. A lot of those people that were day players and so forth in those early sitcoms later on grew to be in things, and we were really familiar with them. People like Bumper Robinson, Lorenz Tate, et cetera, et cetera. So, shout out to them, keeping it lit. Listen, we still have more trending topics and headlines to get into. When we come forward in hour 2, we're going to talk about Usher and his Vogue cover. Should he have gotten a solo cover? Of course, we have more trending topics and headlines to get into. So many, many things. We're also going to talk about Marlon's next project that's coming up and a new TV series that features a rapper. I'm interested, and I think you will be too. All that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Screwed up, throwing shit around, the whole place screwed up. Maybe I should call Mace so he could pray for us. I hit the Jamaican spot at the bar, take a seat. I ordered your jerk, she said you are what you eat. You see, I always love a sense of humor, but tonight you should have seen
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Former Baltimore Mayor Sheila Dixon's campaign